dare del lei, persiranye, or TV distinction. If you are a monolingual English speaker, this one might give you a little bit of a trouble. TV distinction is a way to distinct familiarity from formality in different languages. However, it is non-existent in English, even though it used to be a thing back in time. TV distinction stands for tu and vos. Tu meaning you in singular and vos meaning you in plural. These are Latin pronouns, and these were used to refer to different people at the time. For example, Roman emperors were referred to as vos. Some say because there were two places of government, Rome and Constantinopolis, right? And then others say that it was just done out of respect. However, tu was used for the commoners and vos was used when we refer to the emperors. Many languages inherited that, and some of them lost it by this time, just like English. And that is why I said it's very difficult for only English speakers to learn this concept of TV distinction when they're learning a new language. For example, in Serbian, we have a thing called persiranje, and we use the same model that the Latin language used before. So we used ti or tu or you in singular when we are referring to somebody who is familiar to us, who we don't necessarily need to show some respect to. However, when we meet somebody for the first time, or when there is an older person in front of us, or our boss, or anybody that kind of requires a little bit more respect in the first interaction, then we use persiranje or vi, right? Which is vos or you as plural. Italian, however, uses the third person singular feminine gender, lei, to express the respect or the TV distinction, so-called. And that process in Italian, it's called dare del lei. Basically, pay respect to somebody. In my humble opinion, the lack of TV distinction in English is actually the reason for overcompensating the politeness in speech by using a lot of please, a lot of thank you, and other polite words, right? But again, that's just my opinion. Sociolinguistics is the branch of linguistics that explores this very interesting phenomenon. If you're a speaker of a language that does not have TV distinction, you might wonder, how do we even decide whether to use one or another if it's used in different contexts and to convey a different message? It's a very automatic process in the native speaker's language. However, when we dissect it, we see that it's not all that simple. Every time we meet somebody that we don't know all that well, we need to quickly decide whether to use the polite form or not. Then we have to choose the respective pronoun for it and the suitable verb that goes with it. Then comes the sociological part. Is this person older or younger than me? Is this person somebody that I know well or I just met? Will I offend them if I use the non-formal form? Will I maybe offend them if I use the formal form? How do they see me? Where do I want this conversation to go? Do I want it to be formal, or I want to have it a little bit more casual? Where does our interlocutor see this conversation going? Do they consider it's formal, and that's why they're using the formal form with me? And I consider it too casual, and am I being rude about this? That is a lot of brain processes happening in the head of a speaker. However, that all happens automatically and it comes natural when you use it the whole life. Also, the way we were brought up really impacts how and when we are going to use which one of these forms. For example, I was brought up the way that I need to show respect through language and through TV distinction to older people. So it was based on seniority. However, not towards your parents. So you don't use the formal form with your parents, but that was actually done back in time. And I have to admit, this is my personal experience, that it's very hard to get rid of the need to show respect through language and through TV distinction, even when you were asked to not do it. For example, when somebody says, "Nemoj da mi persiraš, please don't use the formal form with me," You keep doing it because you kind of feel programmed to do it. And then even though you try not using it, you keep going back to it. That happened to me so many times, and I've heard people saying it as well. TV distinction can also cause some trouble when it comes to written translations or oral translations or interpreting, right? Especially when we are interpreting or translating from one language that does not have this phenomenon and to the language that has it, and vice versa. So a simple example of this would be a mechanical translation of the sentence, "Oh, please, call me Susan, don't call me Miss McCartney." I could see this translated as, "Oh, molim te, zovi me Susan, nemoj da me zoveš gospođa Miss McCartney." That is called mechanical translation, and it does not come natural when we translate it to the target language, which is Serbian here. More natural translation would be, "Molim te, nemoj da mi persiraš. Hajdemo na ti, pređimo na ti," which would mean literally, "Please don't be formal with me. Let's use the pronoun ti with me, or pronoun you in singular with me." So complicated. Does your language use TV distinction, and how do you feel about it? Did you have any troubles with translating it to other languages, and how was it used in your language sociologically? Please share your thoughts in your comments.